Official. Huge Warriors move. Fans go wild. GSW News. If you're a Warriors fan, this is the video you've been waiting for. No more empty rumors, no more sleepless nights, and that feeling of seeing Curry carry himself while the rotation fluctuates. Today is official, and in a few minutes I'll show you what changed, why the fans went crazy, and how this movement solves real pain. Depth, defense on the wings, and closing games. I'll connect the dots with you. Impact on the locker room, fit into Kerr's scheme, and what that means for the next stretch of the season. Stay with me, and without further ado, let's get straight to the solution that can put Golden State back on the winning track. If this news excited you, like now and subscribe to the channel. This helps the video reach more Warriors fans and encourages me to bring quick analyses like this. Activate the bell so you don't miss the next updates and comment. Does this move put GSW back in the fight? Stay with me, and I'll show you the real impact on the court. When the Chase Center is silent and the air is thick, you can feel the night crying out for clarity. That's why I want to walk with you through a simple, direct plan, designed to win now and mature in April. It's not just about talent. It's about linking pieces together. The technical set that frees the attack, the defensive coverage that supports the exchanges, the financial discipline to navigate the new CBA, and the right dose of boldness to change a series with a reading on the nail. Stay with me. Today is not fireworks day. It's time to put together the logic behind the headline that, when it comes, will seem inevitable. Golden State isn't looking in the rearview mirror. He's building a bridge between what he's always been, moving ball, precise timing, unselfishness, and what he needs to be, a modern primary organizer who absorbs possessions when the rhythm slows and keeps the board in order when Steph drags two coverages 30 feet from the rim. It's not about looking for another Curry. It's recognizing that large teams dominate different speeds because they choose the right driver for each stretch. The profile is specific and valuable. A tall point guard with clean decisions, capable of guiding pick and roll without turning the court into congestion. That punishes the duck-under, who sees the pocket pass to Draymond half a beat before the window opens. What we have rehearsed points in this direction. More ghost actions at the top, variations from Spain with Steph as a blocker to confuse shots, delay entries to keep the ball above the arc and the opponent's five thinking. It's not a whim. It's an invitation for a second manipulator with size to read the weak side and keep the advantage alive without resorting to serial isolations. Next to Steph, this player makes the last defender hesitate. In the second unit, he stops the middle eight that usually costs good games. And why does this matter? Because the best defenses already know our score. Top lock on Steph's exits, late change on the block, crowd on the nail, and an invitation to live off forced creation with little clock. The antidote is not heroism. It's patience with purpose, accepting what the coverage grants, keeping the opposite side active and turning a semi-closeout into a layup or three in the corner. To do this, you need strength to finish with contact, serenity for the simple pass, and confidence for the open pull-up without hesitation. In the back, we don't need a Gary Payton II clone. We need someone who can withstand the first shock, switch from 1 to 3 without panic, recover their body when the play restarts, and keep their hands alive, their feet honest, and their head connected to Draymond's voice. No hunting for robberies that break the structure. Compete in every possession, force the opposing point guard to work for every point. Thus, Wiggins lives on the wings, Kaminga attacks out of explosion, not out of defensive urgency, and Draymond returns to being a traffic cop, not a firefighter. If we look at the growth curve of the ideal target, the story is encouraging. Real minutes load, responsible use, shooting threes with increasing volume and better quality. This is not an empty promise. It's a training trail. And when you run sets with a tall point guard, the geometry changes. Imagine a high DHO with Draymond, a go screen from Steph, and the point guard keeping the dribble alive. The base falters and you have 3 doors: pocket pass for the short roll, floater on the dotted line, or quick spin to the corner before the closeout is in balance. Add Wiggins's cut from deep and Kaminga's sprint into space. The defense chooses the error that hurts the least. In rotation, the gain is flexibility. With Steph, the new guard alternates between driving and attacking an already inclined side, preserving the rhythm without spamming pick and rolls. Without Steph, he becomes an engine. Pods connects, Kaminga presses in the air, TJD secures the block that buys the decisive inch. This is how you beat the silent stretches that decide series. And in the end, when everything it's trap and disguise, you want a closer who, when he sees 10 seconds on the clock and coverage changed twice, takes a breath and reads it, doesn't panic. I know you also think about the financial picture. The new CBA does not forgive improvisation. Approximate salaries, protect choices, respect the Steppian rule. The equation must close without tricks that imprison both sides months later. On the other side of the conversation, there is pride and project. No one hands over the face of the franchise without a return that raises the floor and preserves the ceiling. Therefore, this negotiation only progresses when three axes align: schedules, the player's desire, and a package that speaks the language of those who rebuild with patience. And then we come to the name that makes technical and philosophical sense: Cade Cunningham. A tall point guard, calm reading, volume of 3 on the rise, competitive personality, and contract that fits a serious construction. Alongside Steph, the readings are linked. The game slows down for us and speeds up for them. It's the kind of fit that doesn't require a new playbook, calls for better execution than is already good. Split action, cut 45, Chicago with Steph as cutter and Clay or Wiggins spacing, Spain with TJD coming out of the dunker. If top lock, slip. If they cross, hand back and attack. The same repertoire, plus a driver to prevent the defense from selling everything to a single option. Of course, there is the emotional crossroads. How much do you pay for choices? Does JK enter or not enter? There are paths that preserve Kaminga if the other side prioritizes draft capital and a young guard with elite reading. There are scenarios in which the JK's roof becomes a centerpiece. The point is that the decision needs to sound like a commitment from those aiming for a title, not a patch. What changes on the first day with Cade? The second unit gains an identity. Steph breathes. The young players receive predictable touches that punish exchanges and dismantle zones. In defense, less excessive help on the nail because the first containment is reliable. In the clutch, an organizer that sees beyond the folds and feeds the advantage without unnecessary spectacle. The headline wouldn't be Cade saves Steph, but Warriors add second driver who keeps machine-tuned against playoff defenses. There is risk, and it's fair to recognize it. Turnovers from a young star against shifting coverage, demanding point-of-attack nights, sharing the steering wheel in the final minutes. But there is a return. Lighter fourth periods because a strong point guard doesn't rush. And there is timing. Windows close in silence. The first months tell you who buys and who sells. You don't beg the market in February. You prepare the ground in October and November to open the right door in due time. If I summarize it for you, it looks like this: identity preserved, need addressed, mathematics respected, with structured costs and untouched culture. This is the type of movement that transforms continuity into a new chapter. And if you want to take the conversation further, tell me, which final quintet sings most in your eyes? Steph, Cade, Wiggins, Kaminga, and Draymond, or a version with Clay, or a smaller adjustment with pods to change size per reading? I'm here to listen to your design, and if it makes sense, help tweak it piece by piece. When the lights cool down and the gym takes a deep breath, I won't ask for magic. I will ask for method. I buy the thesis. Not that of a savior with a name in neon, but that of a driver who lights up the track when the game stops on half a playoff court. Golden State doesn't need another sign. It needs someone to keep the advantage alive without hijacking the system. Movement, timing, altruism, that's the DNA. Add a high guard with a clean reading, and the score reaches the end of the bar in one piece. That's why Cade Cunningham isn't whimsy. He's tactical maturity personified. Next to Steph, the house is not renovated. Tidy the drawer. Think of 3 doors, and none of them open on impulse. In the first, Plan A, Cade, only turns the key when 3 pins align. Schedule, player desire, and price that respects the core. Steps in choices, swaps in moderation, salaries that don't affect April. If the package asks for Kaminga, let it come with protection nets, staggered protections, no becoming a hostage in 2027, 2029. The goal is clear. Arrive in April with 2 drivers, 3 finishers who breathe space, and Draymond governing the geometry. If that door gets stuck, there's a second one. Plan B, the same role with a different face, without falling into the comfort of the combo scorer. The target is the profile. Tall point guard, simple decisions, pull-up that punishes, honest defense from 1 to 3, at a cost range that doesn't break the second apron. The logic remains. Size and reading above the sign. And if the market closes, the emergency brake is pulled. Double the bet on what is already at home, but with clear rules. Pods as primary connector of the second unit. Clay more catch and shoot than dribbling. Wiggins cutting at 45 dig and punishing closeouts. JK receiving scheduled touches in the middle of the clock. It's not a showcase ceiling, and it's a high floor until the right door unlocks. For the court, a pocket manual fits in your sweatshirt pocket. First touch above the arc. Delay with Draymond to force the rival to play 5-at-5 and reveal the coverage. Advantage created is advantage maintained. DHO, go screen, short roll. If it gets stuck, hand back and refusal. No reset as usual. If they clog the nail, cut 45 immediately and skip to the opposite side. Repeat until the opponent leaves the script. PNR without traffic jams. Only 2 occupations on the strong side, third man always in lift for the slot. And no hero ball in the middle 8. The second unit lives off Spain, Chicago, and angle 45, decisions in half a second, and scores in small sums. Behind, the story does not ask for brilliance. It asks for solidity. Exchanges 1 to 3 without hunting for steals that come 4-3 behind. Body on the line, hands alive, head in Draymond's voice. Rebound as an extra possession. Hit, find, go for wings, because half of defense is closing the play. Coverage is by context. Short show and handler without pull-up. High drop with TJD to invite contested floater. A 2-1-2 change after the technical timeout just to mess with the rival's metronome. With Cade, the menu takes on a chef's dish. Ghost at the top and Spain with Steph as a blocker. The defense's internal clock goes off track, the under hesitates, the exchange is delayed, Draymond's pocket opens. High DHO in delay. Cade maintains his dribble, sees the low man, and chooses floater, pocket, short shot, without slipping into isolation. And in clutch, when the timer ticks, you want someone who reads it, not reflexively forces contact. Development is not a pre-game prop. It is a parallel plot. Pods sows the second unit on the first pass and pitch ahead. JK receives empty angles and 45 cuts to transform explosion into efficiency. TJD becomes the screener who buys half a beat. Short roll, handoff, deep seals when they switch late. Everything with purpose. Accounting, you know, also tells the story. The new CBA does not forgive romance. Steppian respected. Protections that don't turn into a rope around the neck, matching that doesn't push into the second apron. If a young pillar leaves, the return floor has to be real. Picks with net value and a guard jock wing who plays in May. Without this, you won't stray from the path. How do you measure whether the plot is on track by January? 4 simple markers. Time of live advantage above 3.0s between the first bend in Steph and the finish. Post-skip corner EFG above 57%. Unforced turnovers below 11 per 100 possessions in the middle 8. At least 4 converted cuts 45 per night. And a second handler pulling plus 1.0 FTA every 10 PNR possessions. If these lines go up, the climax writes itself. And when it's time to close the book, I'll cast the singing quintet, Steph, Cade, Wiggins, Kaminga, and Draymond. Reading from above, 2 finishers running, Draymond choreographing without losing space. I save the version with Clay for nights of extra gravity and the reading with Pods when the area on the other side calls for big eyes and patience. Basically, my opinion fits into a sentence that seems quiet, but moves walls. It's worth going as far as mathematics and culture allow for a second high conductor, not to save Steph, but to free what is already elite in May. The headline, when it comes, will sound inevitable because logic came before fireworks. The bridge between October and April cannot be built in a sprint. It is built on simple decisions, repeated with courage. So that's it. No pyrotechnics, with purpose. If the ball spins, the reading comes through and the advantage doesn't die on the first contact, the headline won't be a surprise, it will be a consequence. And when it pops, you'll want to say, I saw it before. Press play now on the playlist. Warriors analyzes. Save follow, and share. It's there that we break down each adjustment, each ghost, each 45 cut that changes the series. Get on the playlist, turn up the volume, and come see the game before it happens.